about you. I just want to fuck.
Of course.
In what context?
Does there have to be a context?
You said you didn't want to date anyone.
Yeah.
You're so horny. What are you going to do about it?
They don't have to intercept with each other.
You say that. You're just going to continue to let it build up. What do you think's going to happen?
Okay, what if you met a girl who had the personality and voice of Tron Bonne from Mega Man Legends, but she looked like Bubble Bass?
She'd be pretty mean then.
It just looks like Bubble Bass.
Looks like Bubble Bass.
Oh, well, Tron's mean too.
Yeah.
Teasy.
She's a tsundere. I have to do something to make her fall in love with me. And I don't know what the situation would be where that would happen.
You're at your new job at Press Square Cafe, and you have to make her panini correctly, or else she's gonna leave a bad Yelp review.
You're not setting this up very well.
I gave you a setting and a situation.
I would never work in food industry. Pressing a panini, are you painful pile of pedantic poo-poo.
That was a strong finish. Let's see. Okay. You're at a manga library, and you have to recommend the correct manga for her. But if you recommend something she doesn't like, she leaves a bad Yelp review.
I don't want to fuck Bubble Bass.
But she has the voice and personality of Tron Bonne.
And?
She's perfect, except for her appearance.
Damn, Steven. That was cruel. The way you done her in like that.
I don't like Bubble Bass.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Jeez. What's a manga? What's a good manga for Bubble Bass?
For him to be from or be in? What are you saying?
I'll ask you to a hypothetical.
I wasn't listening.
Just give me a hypothetical. Put me in a situation.
Okay, since you said that Tron Bonne is a tsundere, that makes her Asuka, which would mean that Roll is Ray. What if you found out that Roll had 1 million clones?
I'd come.
Disclaimer! Crossing the Line is not a show intended to bully or harass anyone. Do not go out of your way to find or mess with the authors featured on our podcast. They make what we do possible, and we love them. And you. Thanks. Enjoy.
So let's say you go to the voting booth, or you go to the voting polls, pull up and you get in line, and then you wait your turn and you get instructed on how to vote. But as you sit down to vote, the person next to you starts peeking over your shoulder and looking at what you're writing down, and starts obviously cheating off of your worksheet. What do you do?
That wouldn't be much of an issue if they're voting for the person that I would vote for, because that would just mean another win in my book, I guess.
Are you going to ask her about it?
I would say, you good?
She said, yeah, I'm actually looking at your sheet so I can put all the opposite answers of you so your vote doesn't count.
So I can mark every answer but yours.
What do you have against me?
I just want to make sure that I can do my part in making sure somebody else's vote doesn't count.
I really want Kanye West in office, you just don't know.
I pull the curtain shut so there are no prying eyes.
You're not going to report them to the teacher? The voting official.
I don't know if you've ever voted before, Elias.
What if you had an evil doppelganger and he had the power to take on the properties of a liquid like a cat, so he could squeeze into the voting box to grab your vote and tear it up so it didn't count?
He's a doppelganger of me, but he could be liquid?
Yeah, he's like a cat where he can get into tight spaces, so he can just
so
slip into
big.
the crack.
He'd still be 6'3's worth of liquid.
Yeah, exactly.
180 pounds.
You look
of liquid.
you look at the little tally box and it's like bursting at the seams because he's inside rumbling around.
I'd kick it.
What if you were forced to look at your answers when you put your vote into the voting reader machine and they said...
And they graded you like a Scantron. Aw, 68.
You don't get an 80%, you don't pass. Your vote doesn't count.
You hand in your vote, they transparently look at what you wrote down and their eyes widen like,
You pull out a red pen and start grading it.
You start marking all your wrong votes.
The bad votes.
Hey, you were supposed to vote for him, not him, and well, I'll just fix that for you. There you go, that's a passing grade.
I'll bump you up. Here's a bell curve this week.
The bell curve in the Electoral College.
The bell curve.
How patriotic. And you know what that means? It's November. And you know what that means? It's fall. And you know what that means? We're doing Over the Garden Wall fanfiction.
Happy
Nice.
fall, y'all. That's something us Southern boys like to say to each other every now and then when the autumn season comes around once more.
Yeah, every about 8 months.
10 gallons.
We look out the window, watch the skies get darker and darker every day.
Pumpkin seeds in my teeth.
Watch the leaves fall off the tree and go, yep.
Yep.
Mom.
Gonna be a good day for raking. Welcome to Crossing the Line, a fanfiction podcast where we read, review, and critique fanfiction for your listening pleasure. I'm George G. Poole. I've got my two co-hosts as usual, Elias Virgil Vlogs, my man.
Yes, I'll be doing more manga videos here soon. The first one would have already launched.
And my other man, Stephen Bluebreed.
Howdy ho, it is fall.
Yeah, it's fall, y'all. That's something us Southern boys like to say. We like to greet each other and say, Happy fall, y'all.
Like to scoop up some leaves and say, yep, looks like fall again.
Put them in my shirt so I have a big full belly and pack it and everybody laughs and I laugh too.
Like the way it crinkles in my shirt.
It goes and I go
Take a big
Woo-wee.
old handful. Take a big old handful, roll in the ball in my palm and go Kamehameha and put in someone's face.
Take a big whole handful, put them in some girl's shirt so her titties get bigger.
Ask my friend to hold some in his hands and then spin my hands around his hands really fast and do the Rasengan and spill leaves everywhere.
Just blows leaves.
Dust off the old leaf blower, sucker. It goes and I couldn't be happier.
Oh, you rich. You're better than my leaf blower. Mine goes...
If it wasn't obvious, we don't do any sort of prep when we do this show. Ain't that cool?
What are you talking about? I prepared my fan fiction. I watched Over the Garden Wall again. Thankfully, this one's really short, so I can take over the entire series in no time. I've also got the comics.
There are a lot of them.
I've also got 2 of the comics.
Like, the past few years, except for this year, there's been like a 5-part series every year.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So there's a lot of Over the Garden Wall content, which you may or may not believe, but it is all pretty good.
What's that artist up to besides working on, or maybe has worked on Pinocchio with Guillermo del Toro?
What?
The creator of Over the Garden Wall was working with Guillermo del Toro to work on his live act or claymation or stop motion Pinocchio movie, which is still in development hell, I think. That's all I've heard that he's done.
That's news to me. I've never heard of that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
His Wikipedia page isn't very specific, but I think he's also done some Flapjack stuff, which I believe because that show has a similar vibe.
Sure.
What's his name?
Pendleton Ward, I think. I just made that up, so. But I'm pretty sure that's it, actually.
Pendleton.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. At the very least, I'll give you that. I'll give you it's a familiar.
Nope, that's Adventure Time. Never mind. Censor that.
But at least it was real.
Yeah. Patrick McHale.
Patrick McHale.
Yep.
What else has he done?
Let's look at his IMDb.
This is the Over the Garden Wall episode, after all, so we need to be as in the know as possible.
Ooh, he's done Over the Garden Wall, some writing on Adventure Time and Flapjack, and Blackford Manor.
What's Blackford Manor?
It's got a similar look. I have not watched it, so I don't know. But judging by the look, it looks similar. He's also been a character on Gravity Falls, and that's all I see.
Nice. There's not a single Pawn Stars fan fiction here. What the fuck?
It's prime time to start writing.
We have a Pawn Stars episode where we just write our own stories.
Yes, please.
Maybe we could get one of our writer friends on the show to do that. I'm sure they'd love to.
Get some Attack of the Hank action.
We're just sagging if he's not wrapped in a project.
Oh, true.
Yeah, all like fan submitted Pawn Stars stories for. Oh, that'd be so cool! A Pawn Stars jam.
Pawn
Stars
Super
fanfic jam.
Fuck yeah.
We need to do some jams. That'd be awesome.
That would be cool. Let's do an overnight one.
Well, I'm gonna run that by our Discord group right now. So join our Discord if you haven't already. We have a lot of fun and chat about fun stuff.
Let's see here. What's everyone's experience with Over the Garden Wall?
I've watched the show many times, and I have read 2 of the comic compilations because I have them. And yeah, I like it a lot. I like the music and the art, and it's great.
I watched the thing.
I wanted to do this episode. I was like, there's got to be enough. And there was pretty much enough. Like 99% of them are Gravity Falls crossovers. But there's a handful of other weird ones as well.
It's a very good show. You can watch it every year, just like any other holiday fall special. It's got good energy to it.
Yeah, it's really short and has great music. It's very enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
It's got a wonderful warm atmosphere.
Nice kind of solemn theme to it.
It's sort of like I think anything that's a pretty blank slate. And there's certainly enough going on, but it's got a pretty straightforward tone, so it's good for crossovers.
The character designs are very simple but quaint and memorable. Everyone knows Gnome Kid and Kid with Pot on Head.
Wirt and Greg.
Yes. Those.
Wirt
and Greg.
What's the bird's name?
Oh god, I forget her friggin' name.
Carlisle.
Carlisle, okay.
Carbuncle.
Yeah, Carbuncle.
Susie Carbuncle. Susie Carmichael.
Susie Burhow.
I wonder what the Game Grumps crew would look like in Rugrats art style.
Well, Auntie Whispers is voiced by Tim Curry.
Cool.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
For some reason, when I look it up the character list, it doesn't tell me the bird is not important somehow.
Beatrice.
What did I say? Carlisle?
Yes. I like how you remembered your fake guess.
Yeah.
I had decided already what it was in my head. Yes, it's Beatrice. On Wikipedia, it's a main character.
Good. Okay, yeah, obviously, like, I'm sure you've seen this show if you've clicked on this episode. If you somehow haven't, definitely go watch it. It's only 10 episodes. It's a fantastic little adventure. It's a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. Anyway, I got a story pulled up that I want to read.
Okay.
I'm wearing my cool socks, by the way.
God Usopp. Space destroyed.
Very nice.
We'll put that on Twitter, maybe. Feet pics at 1,000.
Oh, Lord.
Alright, I already got mine pulled up, so we're just gonna jump into this one. Wirt hates most of his life. Well...
Oh.
Harsh start, buddy.
Oh, goddamn.
Well, hate is a strong word, but it isn't hard to think that when some strange rip in the world tries to suck your baby brother in, only to suck yourself in. Next thing Wirt knew was that he was in some sort of lab with shady-looking men around him. Most of the men looked at the teen with shock until one came over and grabbed the 16-year-old by his sweater collar. He's 16? I don't remember him being that old.
I mean, he's in high school, I think.
I can't remember.
I guess. It was either high school or middle school. I don't remember, but...
He looks small.
Yeah,
so.
he doesn't... Because
He's small.
that would imply Greg is like so much younger than him than in my head I think he is. Because a lot of Wirt's plight is that like he wants to be mature even though he's still a kid.
Yeah, I guess I would assume he's like 14 and Greg is like 10.
Something like that.
This could also just be a funny AU where he's 16 and he got the suck.
Well, he's cool.
Imagine being 16 and getting the suck.
Wow.
That ever happened to you guys?
Let me think. I don't remember. I'm sure if I did, I would remember.
You brat! The man holding Wirt up by his beige sweater.
What did Wirt do? He just existed here.
Because of you, the boss's portal is destroyed! Let's show this kid what happens when someone messes with us! By the way, these lines are italicized, and there's a note saying that italicized dialogue means it's in Japanese.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
So I'm imagining Wirt doesn't understand anything that's being shouted at him.
What are these people saying?
Soon, Wirt was surrounded by the cheers and shouts of those people wanting to do something to him. Well, if a certain place has taught him, don't be a pushover. Wirt started to flail and kick until he hit the person holding him.
This is post story.
That's good. It's good. I'm glad he's maturing. Wirt was thrown into the wreckage of what seemed like to some sort of contraption. You little shit! You're gonna be in a world of pain for that! The main aggressor snarled with his fists suddenly growing in size.
Oh no.
It's Kamala Khan.
I'm imagining like a battle toad.
You little shit, says Zit. Wirt scrambled to his feet and took a note of the others around him. Some had scales, some had animal heads or parts. The most terrifying ones were the people with multiple limbs. Yeah, wherever Wirt was, it wasn't home. Fear was crawling up Wirt's spine, although these thugs had nothing on the beast. Hopefully their boss wasn't anything like that demon. The large fist thug came flying at Wirt as he swung his enlarged hands to hit the boy. Wirt ran away from the man and all hell broke loose. If he was honest, Wirt didn't even know how long the chase was going. It felt like a scene in Scooby-Doo. Soon, Wirt was cornered on all sides and fairly close to passing out. His breath was ragged and his chest hurt. A thug launched himself at the teen, which had Wirt instinctively duck under. The world was abuzz to Wirt as the panic started to set in. The ringing in Wirt's ears got louder than the bangs around the brown-eyed boy. It hurt to breathe. It hurt not to breathe. He was panicking, but he couldn't stop. It hurt to focus. Hey, a voice spoke through the fog. It was calm and clear, like a steady drum in a lullaby. It was speaking to Wirt, and Wirt felt better listening to said voice. Slowly the ringing stopped and the fog in Wirt's mind cleared. Breathing has gotten slower. He seems to have calmed down. Thank you, hound dog. A man in his late 30s spoke with a hand to his right ear, an earpiece of some sort. The man was wearing all black and some sort of long gray scarf by the looks of it. The man's long black hair was draped over his shoulders. The most eye-catching part of him was the crescent moon-shaped scar under his right eye. Hey kid, you doing better? The man asked as his soft black eyes looked into Wirt's brown ones. Yes. Sorry, but who are you? You can call me Eraserhead. Do you know anything about these thugs?
Shit.
The man, Eraserhead, asked Wirt while getting up from his squatting position.
Wait, so Eraserhead was in the fog?
Apparently. I don't know. I guess he subdued the criminals without it being said.
It said, like, thank you, hound dog, but I don't know what hound dog did unless he called him from the fog. Maybe hound dog defeated the criminals?
Maybe. I don't know.
Aizawa could just use a scarf or something.
His quirk.
His scarf, whatever.
His scarf quirk.
His scarf that makes his neck really heavy and gives him neck pain.
His scarf that makes him tired.
His melatonin laced scarf.
Wirt looked around to find most of said thugs either knocked out or being restrained by Eldelwood. Wirt stared at the accursed wood, holding up a quarter of the thugs. By the look of how the thugs struggled, the wood wasn't growing out of them, but... Hey, deep breaths, kid. When I get out of here, I'll make sure you can't breathe again, you brat! One of the struggling thugs yelled at Wirt before he was knocked out by Eraserhead.
Poor Wirt.
He just screaming, so Eraserhead went over and smacked him in the forehead, so hard he passed out. Luckily, the other struggling thugs seemed wise enough to not say anything. Wirt did his best to put the branches of Eldelwood out of his mind. As Wirt was doing this, Eraserhead led the 16-year-old out of the building. There were police cars parked outside it.
The building? They said there was fog there.
Don't worry about it.
Maybe
It's a foggy building.
The teleporter had fog around it or something.
Maybe Hound Dog's big, heavy breath just permeates a fog.
Yeah.
The officer did their best to make sure that Wirt was comfortable, so he took this moment to ask some questions. Where am I? Kamino, Yokohama. You're in Japan. Eraserhead told him... Oh, wait. Oh, he's talking to the officers. My bad. You're in Japan. Eraserhead told me you were having a panic attack when he got to the scene. You were only responding to things he said in English. Luckily, his husband teaches English.
Who's his husband?
That's a good question. That's some lore I haven't yet learned.
An English teacher?
Luckily, Eraserhead knows English. Okay, is his name really Eraserhead? Oh no, that is just his hero code name. Wirt was confused with just the information given to him. He was on the other side of the world, and the person who saved him was a hero? What about those powers those thugs had? Powers? You mean quirks? Surely you know what quirks are. I mean, isn't yours that branch control? Once again, panic was settling in, but Wirt pushed it down as Eraserhead came over. Come on. I have a colleague who wishes to talk to you. Wirt was taken to another male who asked the boy some questions about who he was and what he was doing in the building. Of course, Wirt was as truthful as he could possibly be. Eraserhead was waiting for the man and teen to finish up while watching as the thugs were taken away by the police.
I hope Greg is okay.
I'm sure he's fine.
Greg's gonna come out with hands on his face.
So short and stout. Imagining with all those hands on him is so funny.
It would make his design so noisy.
He'd just be a ball of hands.
There's one huge one on his big huge head, and then a bunch of tiny ones all over him.
His fucking wide ass face getting cracked.
He's
Elias,
so talkative. He couldn't be him.
You should draw that for the thumbnail.
I know, that's really funny.
Let's see.
There's fucking hands on his pot.
One's like on the handle.
Yeah.
One's with the finger in the hole where it pours out of.
like the index finger stuck in the hole. The 30-year-old man was also talking quietly to the earpiece in his right ear. That is all the questions I have for you. Eraserhead, what are you going to do with Walter-san? I'll be bringing him to UA since he doesn't have much control over his quirk. I can help with that.
They say Walter-san? Is that Wirt's full name?
I guess. That sounds right. Wirt didn't know what UA is, but he really didn't have anywhere to go here. Eraserhead motioned for Wirt to follow, and the boy did so. One police car was left open for Eraserhead, Wirt, and another officer. It took a few minutes for the three of them to head off, which was fine for Wirt. Wirt was hyper-aware of his surroundings, but was unable to pin what time it was. So, as the buildings rolled by, Wirt was left to his own thoughts. How was Greg doing without Wirt? Was he okay after his brother pushed him away from danger? Did Mom and Greg's dad know? How was he going to get home? Would... Walter. Eraserhead's voice pulled the boy out of his questions. Cut that out.
It's fine. It's just your life now. Get used to it.
Walter.
Trust me, it's much cooler than wherever you were left off.
We've got superpowers here. It's cool.
They got babes in that dorm, Walter.
We got you right into the highest ranking class in the country just by existing.
Class 1A. Let's see. Oh, they had stopped. Okay. Both Wirt and Eraserhead got out of the police car, which let Wirt get a better view of the school. Were they really going to stay at a school?
Were they?
Shota! A very loud voice came as a blonde man came running up to greet the black-haired man. This new male was... Sorry, just the phrase new male is really funny to me. That's like beta male, alpha male, new male. This new male was wearing jeans with a shirt and jacket combo. The older males took a minute of greeting before the attention was turned to Wirt. Is this the kid you were talking about? English, Hizashi. Walter can't understand Japanese just yet.
Speak your other language.
We all can do it. Don't worry. Everybody speaks English here. It's the universal language. Walter, this is Yamada Hizashi, or Pro Hero Present Mike. Eraserhead introduced to the other adults as Yamada came closer to Wirt. Remember, Wirt, the Japanese refer to each other by their last name.
I want you to now memorize everyone's last name.
Right now.
Nice to meet you, sir. Wirt gave a timid smile to the other. The smile was returned with one that looked like it could outshine Greg's. Nice to meet you, too. No need to call me sir, little listener. Just Michael do. Walter Wirt, right? Shota told me before... Shota told me before you got here. Well, he told all of UA staff, but I came out to meet you.
His last name's Walter. That's it. What?
Walter Wirt.
I asked about it earlier.
He's not Japanese.
Yeah, well, he's in Japan land now.
So they force his name around?
Yeah.
Walter Wirt, not Wirt Walter.
Walter's son.
Walter's son.
Mike, do you have... Oh yeah, here, this is a guest ID. It makes sure you don't set off the school's alarms. Nezu made sure I grabbed one before I came here, Yamada explained as he handed the ID off to the 16-year-old. This only made no sense to Wirt. Why, Why was this needed? Come on, the rest of the staff would like to meet you. Chapter 2. Meeting the UA staff.
Still no Greg.
No, not yet.
Still no Greg universe.
He'll attack the school soon, I'm sure.
With his League of Villains.
We'll have his League of Villains introduction soon, I'm sure.
They're gonna turn Greg into a Nomu. No feeling, only muscle. All quirk.
Tiny body.
Greg's gonna turn other people into Nomu by putting pots on their heads.
Greg's exposed brain. Big bird face. Wirt was led down the hallways to a room that was obviously a teacher's lounge. Even now, Wirt's anxiety was getting the best of him. He pulled at his sweater's sleeves and did the best he could to not think about the elderwood branches. It was like a plague on his mind, much like the nightmares where he wasn't able to say, "We're here!" Yamada yelled out as he slammed open the lounge door. Inside were 12 more, adults. Honestly, only 5, being generous, of them looked human. If what Wirt did get from the thug's lab, all of these people were human, it was stretching for that small bear, rat, mammal in a suit.
It's the president. Careful. I mean the principal.
The principal. The principal.
The president principal.
It's Principal Pixie Frog.
Now Wirt.
Wirt, I see you've come to Japan. You found me.
When I heard you were a lost child, I did what I had to do. I adopted you.
Look, I cut ties with Cartoon Network a long time ago. That place is a dying ship.
It's about time you do the same.
Welcome to the East.
Greetings, young man. The mammal in a suit greeted the 16-year-old with a welcoming smile. Okay, talking animal, that could be human. Yeah, Wirt can deal with this. In fact, it was kind of comforting, like having to talk with Beatrice or Fred. Aizawa-kun told us that you would be coming here with him. Who? That would be me, Walter. Eraserhead, or really Aizawa, clarified.
I already forgot my name.
As he sat Wirt down in a chair. Right, Eraserhead is just a code name.
You can't even just like nod and smile, Wirt. You have to be like, who?
Who?
Who told you that?
Aizawa frowns. It's a pleasure to meet you, Walter-kun. I'm the principal here at this fine school of ours. You may call me Nezu. Wirt nodded as Nezu started to introduce everyone else. You already met Aizawa Shada, Class 1A's homeroom teacher, and the underground hero Eraserhead. Aizawa nodded as Nezu continued. And our English teacher, Yamada Hizashi, who is also known as a pro hero Present Mike. Are they implying that Present Mike and Aizawa are married? He's the English teacher. His husband knows English.
Oh no. That'd be so annoying.
Yeah,
Imagine getting into a yelling fight with him.
He turns his loudspeaker on and screams about how there's no peanut butter in the cupboard.
A fine Aizawa can never win.
He can
so
can
quiet.
just shut him up with his quirk.
I know.
He'll be screaming so loud and then he'll just lose his voice in the middle of it. And Aizawa will be so tired.
Whoa, Aizawa has a mute button. And his husband.
Say, you wanna hear the most annoying sound ever heard? Just looks at him. You can't hold out forever.
You gotta blink eventually.
And it's coming. Aizawa struggles to keep his eyes open so he doesn't have to hear Present Mike scream in his ear.
President Mike sits like a gargoyle on the fucking end of the couch awaiting him to blink.
The big Cheshire Cat grin on his face. Let's see. Yamada gave a quick "yeah" with his reintroduction. Wirt had a strange feeling of Wirt had a strange feeling in the back of his mind, but ignored it out of panicked respect for the school's principal. Nezu introduced a large man named Khan Sekijiro, or pro-hero Vlad King. Khan was very tall and had a lot of large muscles. The man had gray spiky hair and dark red eyes that made him look very intimidating, which also enhanced by the frown on his lips.
Is this an OC?
No, he's Vlad King. He
know.
was the other teacher with them when they went on the forest retreat.
Okay.
For the My Hero fans out there, they'll know. He's like the vampire one.
Oh yeah. I barely recognize him.
He barely shows up. Let's see. Khan also had 2 lower fangs sticking out of his mouth. He was the homeroom teacher for Class 1B. Next was the modern hero, his art history teacher, Kayama Nemuri. Kayama was also known as the rated R hero. Midnight and oh boy, Wirt believed Nezu the second he laid his eyes on her. Her hero outfit felt a little more than revealing, even if she was fully clothed. Her sky blue eyes were staring into Wirt's soul, and Wirt was just hoping that the blush she was feeling wasn't really on his cheeks.
And Wirt was just staring at her chest and not looking at her.
Staring disrespectfully at her chest. Sweating bullets.
It's like, how long till I have to look up? Do you think she'll notice?
I'm glad Greg isn't here to witness Wirt being horny.
That would corrupt Greg immediately. His smile would be gone.
Greg would immediately put a hand on his face.
This teapot smashes on the ground.
Oh my god, he's gonna come back. He's gonna be like the apprentice of fucking Gang Orca. His little zoot suit with a whale mask.
He would get all for one. Next to the rated R hero was 13. 13 helped teach up incoming heroes about search and rescue missions. The only thing that Wirt could think was that 13's white spacesuit-like costume looked very comfortable. The black helmet with white eyes was way too close to looking like the Beast to ever ask. Luckily, they weren't glowing, which was a plus. Next was Snipe, who looked like a cowboy. Wirt wasn't very sure if he liked the mask, but Snipe did have a cape that went up around his neck, and Wirt's outfit from last Halloween, and the teacher pulled off looking cool, so cool in it. Besides Snipe was Lunch Rush, the hero in charge of making food for, well, lunch. He looked like a chef with some sort of blue tube attached to his face and a chief's hat that hid all of his face.
He had a feeding tube on his face.
He had a dialysis tube in his wrist. Wirt's biggest question was how Lunch Rush could see. Was the fabric see-through on the inside?
His biggest question was how Lunch Rush could live.
How he could be a hero in such crippling condition.
How he could make so many lunches.
I just had the worst thought. Lunch Rush just buys Lunchables and says he makes them. He's quirkless.
He's the fastest Lunchables buyer in the West. I mean the East.
He's so fast in the East they can't even contain him. He has to go to the West and be the fastest too.
He's the production line for fucking the West.
He's Oscar Mayer.
Well, Oscar Mayer, also known as Lunch Rush.
Quirk salesman.
Quirk cutting ham, crackers, cheese, and containing them.
Wienermobile license.
Quirk cutting his finger while chopping vegetables and not crying.
And only crying a little.
Beside Lunch Rush was a living cement block named Ishiyama Ken, or Cementos.
It's kind of rude.
His name is Mentos?
Cementos.
Okay. Oh, Cementos. Okay.
Yeah, he's not the fresh maker.
Mm.
That's Lunch Rush.
The fresh maker, Cementos.
The everything maker.
Ishiyama
shit.
teaches modern literature, which piqued Wirt's curiosity. Hopefully Wirt could learn something about this world's literature and use it in his own poetry. Maybe the walking cement block knew some poems that Wirt could draw inspiration from. Once again, Wirt had to hope no blush appeared on his face when he saw the next teacher's bare chest.
Oh no.
This teacher was named Majima Higari, or Power Loader. He was in charge of UA's developmental studio. Oh, he swings both ways. I seen a chest, I started drooling. That's a little Pawn-Srar's tube humor for you fellas out there.
Pawn-Srar's
Pawn-Srar's. It's a classic. It's an instant classic. Go to YouTube and look up The Things. He does great YTPs. He was in charge of UA's development studio. This is where the costumes for the hero students were made or adjusted. Almost every costume in the lounge was made by the support department at one point. Wirt would be more willing to be impressed if it wasn't for Majima's lack of a shirt. His costume was just a large yellow helmet in the shape of an excavator claw. Jeans gray fingerless gloves.
Sounds cool.
That's all he needs.
Yeah, the hell
There was-
in the shape of a finger.
There was no comma after jeans, so I thought the fingerless gloves were made of jeans, and he was just freeballing. Next to Majima was Inui Ryo, or Hound Dog, the guide counselor at UA. Word's best description of Inui was that he was a dog on hind legs and large muscles. The counselor's blonde hair was like scruffy fur, and the man wore a muzzle over his snout. Wirt wondered if the man barked like a dog, too.
Wirt asked him.
Do you bark like a dog, too?
What?
There's so many people in this room.
I was about to say, this is some fucking
Wirt has
total
to meet
drama
all of them.
shit.
They all need a descriptor.
The total drama introduction.
Okay, so the next member of the UA staff looked more like a grandma, but according to Nezu, Shuzenji Chiyo was the nurse of the school. Shuzenji was also called Recovery Girl. The woman asked something in Japanese, which was answered by Aizawa. The elderly nurse seemed to be happy with whatever the homeroom teacher said, which led to the final person in the room. The last person was a blonde man with blue eyes. His eyes were sunken into shadows, and yet the eye color seemed to shine in the black void.
Whoa.
The man looked like what the inhabitants of Pottsfield really looked like. A skeleton. The man wore a fairly nice-looking white dress shirt and blue tie, where it was more concerned with the man's arms, which were covered in bandages and in a sling. This is our newest member of staff. The former number one hero, All Might, who teaches foundational hero studies. Nezu concluded his introduction with the former number one hero. Wirt knew that looks could be deceiving. He looked like a strong breeze would knock him over. What's his real name? It feels really weird to not call him by his name. Do you really want me to out him just like that?
I need to see his Wikipedia article to make sure he ain't playing me. Number one, my ass.
Wirt, shut up. Just smile and nod. I'm sick of these.
Wirt really didn't like the amount of eyes on him. The soft but gruff voice. He didn't see what everybody else sees. Wirt really didn't like the amount of eyes on him. A soft but gruff voice answered the 16-year-old's question. Yagi Toshinori. My name is Yagi Toshinori, young Walter. Wirt nodded to the skeletal man with a small thank you. Thank you. Now, with that out of the way, would you mind answering some of our questions, Walter Kuhn? Wirt nodded. Hopefully he could get his own answers too. Excellent. Now, can you tell us what happened before you ended up at that lab? I was with my little brother Greg in his room. I was helping him with some homework that he was having trouble with. What a sweet big brother you are, Kayama purred, which had Wirt stammering his next sentences. His blood is leaving his brain. we were about halfway done when the portal appeared. And just like that, the atmosphere of the room changed. No more was the comfortable calmness, only the dripping seriousness and dread. Greg was starting to get stuck in the portal, and I panicked. I pushed him out of the way, but I got sucked in myself. Can you describe what the portal looked like? It looked like a literal rip in the universe. I don't know how to describe it any other way. I was too focused on getting Greg out of the way to really look at the portal. Of course. Now your quirk. I don't have one. You don't? But Aizawa-kun, you said that the branches around Walter-kun were reaching to his panic attack. Reacting to his panic attack. Yes, they were. Aizawa conformed while glaring at Wirt. Little shit, do not make me a liar. Yamada and Yagi were translating the conversation to the staff that couldn't understand English. Wirt, however, didn't like this. He never had any... I don't like when they don't speak English.
I don't like when you translate my words.
Let me tell them. You don't tell them. I don't know what sort of spicing up of my lingo you're given.
They can read my lips and guess.
If they want to understand, they can learn my language.
They're in my country.
They're in my presence. They can learn my language.
My presence.
I learned a lot about being respectful and responsible, so it's about time you guys do the same. Let's see. Aizawa conformed while glaring at Wirt. Yamada and Yagi were translating the conversation to the staff that couldn't understand English. Wirt, however, didn't like this. He never had any powers before, and why Elderwood branches? What was happening here? Quirks were obviously real. Wirt saw quirks in action back at the Thug Lab. But why did Wirt have a quirk? Back home, he didn't have one. Greg didn't have one. Did the unknown do something to the brothers and give them quirks?
That was a year ago. Get over it. You're in Japan now.
No, that didn't sound right, but... Walter-kun, can I ask what year was it for you when you got sucked into the portal? 2015? It would seem that either you have traveled through time or, Walter-kun, you've come from a different dimension.
Okay.
Damn, what a... They just came to that.
They sure did.
They ruled out any other situation. Like, it's time travel. It's dimensional travel. Okay, first, I hope you enjoyed this chapter. 2, Over the Garden Wall in this story took place during 2014, the year it was created, but the brother's mother's side of the family is old-fashioned. 3, the reason Wirt didn't ask for Snipe, 13, and Lunch Rushers names is because he didn't see their faces. To him, it feels like talking to the resident of the unknown, and is going to just roll with it for now. That's the end.
So he's only nosy when they're human, doesn't care about the non-humans.
Yes. He only cares when they pique his interest.
When they speak his language, so to speak.
Yeah, the masked characters are just the ones that have and only speak Japanese.
I give that a really tough marriage out of 10.
I give that a 6 liters of blood rush into a penis out of 10.
I give that 2 longing stares at bare chests.
2 longing stares.
I think I got mine pulled up, so I can go next if you want.
Damn, Steven, hit it and quit it, hit it and quit it.
Alright.
Tap it, go, 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 go.
Wirt snaps out of his thoughts. Greg, he says to the little boys walking beside him. Yeah, Wirt, Gregory says, looking up at his half-brother with big brown eyes. Carries a frog on his head. Where are we? The boys glance around at the striped, faceless trees. In the woods. Gregory's eyes grow even bigger, taking in the sight of the candy cane trees, taffy vines, sugary dirt.
Is this the Willy Wonka chocolate factory?
The sugary dirt.
How can you tell by looking at it?
Well, Greg is a very curious boy. I'm sure he's eating it as they go. Tasting every rock, every dirt.
Sticking his finger in the mud and then in his mouth and back in the dirt to make mud.
Where it's like, stop that. He's like, no, it's made of sugar. He's like, I don't believe you and I don't want to try.
Greg, I promise I'm not pranking you this time.
I'm just eating dirt and rocks and tree.
Yeah. Where have I heard this before? Word.
Cake, rocks, and frosting pans.
Ugh, that's so much frosting.
That's so thick. That's not even a pond. That's like quicksand.
Once you step in, you can't get out.
I can't finish like 2 spoons of frosting.
Unless I'm using like animal crackers or something to fucking dilute it. No way.
Yeah, we're all old. We can't handle sugar anymore.
It's like if I got a birthday cake, I'd want it to be frosted, but not like the layers of frosting and like the super 3-inch thick frosting on top. It's like, no, I want the cake. I appreciate the icing, but that's not the meal.
Boys, what if I got you a birthday cake, but it was like 2 thin sheet pans with a giant fucking like 10-inch glob of frosting layer in between them?
I would cut myself a generous slice and then realize what it was and just not finish it. And you'd be like, are you not hungry? I'm like,
I laugh really loudly.
Gonna like make a super powerful buttercream and like make me that for my birthday. This like big round cake with all frosting.
It's just butter.
It'd be expensive.
Oh, it's buttercream, alright. Butter's creamy.
Good.
So, hello, Wirt. You didn't tell me we were going to a candy forest. That's because I didn't even know there was a candy forest. Going over to a yellow and purple candy cane tree, he inspects it up and down. You should be careful here. We don't know if it's edible or... Greg! The little boy turns around, pink frosting smeared on the lower half of his face, and a cake rock in his hands. Wirt, you should try this. It's chocolate. He holds out the rock.
The bitten real rock.
Broken teeth.
He holds out Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
His one hand, his one tiny hand.
Face palming, the older boy says, Greg, put that down. Okay. Gregory picks up a pocky twig, holds it out to his frog, now sitting by the green frosting pond. Oh, God. Want some, Dr. President? The frog croaks. Okay, more for me. Scooping the frog up under one arm, Gregory pads after his brother, who paces at the base of the tree. It doesn't make sense, he mutters to himself. Trees made out of sweets and desserts? There has to be some explanation for all of this. Maybe you can ask Beatrice when she comes back. Wirt frowns. No, Greg, I'm not going to do that.
That bitch! No!
Why not? The 6-year-old takes another bite out of his cake rock.
No.
With a sigh, Wirt plops onto a fallen candy cane tree, elbows on his knees, chin in hands. We can figure this out without Beatrice. A sliver of guilt pierces his heart that he cannot even tell his own brother, half-brother, he reminds himself, that their bluebird friend Beatrice had lied to them and tried to hand them over to Adelaide, the old witch.
That ain't right.
Adelaide.
That was a classic.
Indeed. Why don't you just ask that big man over there for help? What?
I thought you were going to say, why don't you just ask that old bitch over there?
Greg, why don't you ask that fucking bitch over there?
Or...
What big word follows the little boy's pointed finger and sees a giant dressed like a hobo and carrying 2 necklaces, one made of gold and tied with a blue silk ribbon, and other a sugar cookie heart with frosting and candies tied with a pink sugar ribbon. Greg, he whispers, getting to his feet, stay here. "What are you gonna do?" Gregory asks relatively loud. The high schooler winces at his brother's volume. "Just keep quiet and stay right here. I'll be right back." Pulling his blue nurse's coat tight around him and adjusting the red hat atop his head, he takes a deep breath and steps toward the giant. Even from this distance, the giant looks depressed. Wirt's stomach flip-flops, knots, wrings itself out as he draws closer and closer to the man trudging through the candy forest. Partly from the nerves, but also because of a smell that seems to emanate from the giant and gets stronger with every step closer to him. When he's a few yards away, Wirt clears his throat out and calls, "Hello? Excuse me?"
Oh. I like this giant man.
Mm-hmm. The giant turns around and looks around before noticing Wirt standing before him. "Oh, hey," he says dejectedly, adjusting his red overalls. Wirt's hands feel clammy. If Beatrice were here, she would know what to say. "No, we can do this without that bird's help." I was wondering if... He rubs the back of his neck. "If what?" "If you knew the way out of these woods." Sure." The giant points a meaty finger towards a rainbow in the distance. "Just go that way until you get to that rainbow ramp, climb up it, and you'll be back in the rest of the arcade." "Arcade? No, that is..." His quick dad. "My brother and I are just trying to find our way home. We've had enough adventures in the unknown. We just want to get home."
That's sort of ambiguous. I mean, that's the way out.
"The unknown." Sitting himself on the ground, the giant says, "Kid, I think you're confusing this game with another one." "Game?" Gregory says, running up to them, much to Wirt's dismay.
Oh, it's Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
I had that one picked out, but I decided against it.
You chose my other one that was between these two.
I hope you didn't also decide on My Hero and Wreck-It Ralph.
No, I have like 5 ready, but I saw the Wreck-It Ralph one. That's why I would not have remembered otherwise.
Mm-hmm. "I love games. Which one are we playing?" "We're playing the Way to Go We're playing the Way to Go Genius game," Wirt mutters. Gregory shushes him and he shushes back. It takes a moment for it to register in the giant's head before saying, "You two aren't from around here, are you?" "No, sir," the older boy continues.
He starts rubbing his hands together.
His big, meaty hands. "I'm gonna wreck it!" He smashes them like twigs.
He's gonna swindle him.
He gets points.
"If I steal that pot, I will be Gregory." Let's see here. "No, sir," the older boy continues. "We just got lost wandering through the forest of unknown and just want to get home." "We were following a bluebird," Gregory pipes up. "But then we found a school, a party, an inn with lots of food, and a mean old witch. But Wirt saved us." "Who's Wirt?" Sighing, the red cat boy places a hand on his chest. "I'm Wirt."
The red cat boy.
"I'm Wirt. This is Gregory, and this is my frog." The younger child holds out the green frog. "His name today is Candy." The giant man frowns. "I don't think you want to name your frog that, kid." "Why not?" "Because I know someone named Candy who isn't very nice." "Oh." Gregory sits down next to the man.
That's like being pissed off at a girl just because her name is like Katie or something. Just because you had a bad experience with Katie. Now all Katies are bad.
Well, he's saying that to protect him, probably.
No.
If people figure out they got the same name as the bad guy, it has to do with the lore. It's spoilers.
John C. Reilly is very bigoted. We all know this.
Let's see here.
Is that who plays Ralph?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see.
He's the brother in Step Brothers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And Dr. Steve... Steve Brule? Steve Brule. Check it out.
Steve Buscemi?
Yeah, that's him. Steve Buscemi plays Wreck-It Ralph.
Similar body type.
Oh my god.
Sunken eyes, skinny limbs.
It's absolute brick house compared to that frail piece of paper easily knocked over by a gust of wind.
You just lost all of our chances to get Steve Buscemi on the podcast.
No.
He'll come crawling back.
This will be the episode where we lose him.
The Steve Buscemi episode.
He loyally watched the last 70 episodes, but he couldn't do this one.
He said, that tears it. They finally bring me up only to beat me down.
Comparing me to the child Napoleon from Resident Evil 4 was bad enough, but now this.
That was on our own time, though.
I think we brought that up at some point.
Maybe. I don't know. It does look like him, though.
Mm. Oh, Gregory sits down next to the man. What's your name, mister? Wreck-It Ralph, he says glumly, chin in his hand. I thought Quincy Endicott was a strange name, Wirt mutters under his breath. Why are you so sad, Mr. Ralph? Gregory asks. The frog croaks, staring up at the huge man. Ralph sighs and stares at the ground. I was trying to be a hero, but I don't feel that good. What happened? Wirt asked, clasping his hands together under his blue nurse's coat.
Do I have a place I can show you? Just check out the last story I was in.
Well, I met someone who's a glitch, and all she wanted was to race.
A glitch.
A bitten glitch.
The glitch.
His face falls even more. But King Candy said that if she raced, the game would be unplugged, and she can't leave the game because she's a glitch. I have a race car at home, Gregory says. It's blue. What do you mean? Wirt says. She's a glitch? Ralph gives the older boy a look. You don't know what a glitch is?
I just walked into the video game realm.
Gregory said, I have a race card at home.
The forest of the unknown also leads to the arcade world.
They walked down a really long tunnel, which happened to be like the power cable.
They walked straight into the sugar rush.
These boys are getting into so much trouble.
At least in the My Hero one, there was a portal.
Let's see here.
He was 16 and he got auto'd by midnight.
Ooh. Well, we don't have glitches where we're from. Really? Gregory blurts out. I thought you said your tape recorder wasn't working because... Not now, Greg. He waves his hand at his little brother to shush him.
Do not out me as a liar, Greg.
Not in front of the funny giant man.
Not in front of John C. Reilly.
Ralph considers the two boys for a moment. A glitch is someone that isn't...
He considers them. He considers them as what?
I consider you both very quaint and annoying.
As useless.
Fuck you,
I'm
two.
done talking to you now. Goodbye.
This conversation's over. I've gained nothing from this.
Greg, shut up. He was in Talladega Nights. I love that movie.
Your voice sounds just like this. Who? Never mind.
You know, Slingshot Engage. You always let Will Ferrell win. What?
A glitch is someone that isn't part of the game, that the programmers never... He clears his throat and blinks rapidly. That's basically a misfit. Wirt frowns. Wow, that stinks. He sits on a pink and white log opposite of Ralph. I used to feel like that at home, especially after Jason Funderburger stole Sarah away from me.
Damn.
His stomach knots. Everything went wrong that night, and I never felt more like a ship lost on a stormy sea with no star to guide my way over a soaring
Damn.
crest. A storm of sadness hovering over, like he glances up to see Ralph, Gregory, and the frog staring at him. Wordy groans, covers his face with his hands. He was reciting poetry again. If your friend's a glitch, Gregory says, scratching his head in thought, can't she just make friends and she won't be a glitch anymore? It doesn't work like that, Ralph tells him.
No, I said glitch, not bitch, Greg.
No, I said bitch, not glitch, Greg.
Listen,
It doesn't work like that.
Listen, retarded small child. Moron.
Idiot.
Get your fucking pot off your head.
Dweeb.
Loser. Let's see. No one can stop being a glitch, and none of the other racers like her. His eyes glaze over. That poor kid.
Oh, it's so sad.
What if she becomes a racer, the little boy says, a bright innocent smile on his face. If
What
she's
if
a
she
racer,
becomes a racist?
that just makes things worse.
Don't be racist.
You can't tell me what to do, funny crystal woman.
Ah, Steven Universe meets Wreck-It Ralph to tell him not to be racist.
He does the fucking Donkey Kong side smash on her.
His big square head.
Shatters her immediately.
His giant tall hitbox.
He clasps both of her hands together in his hands and she shatters immediately.
A special zoom as she cracks.
He turns her into a Class B Suko character.
Oh no! He hits her so hard she can't reform correctly.
He wrinkles her body and dampens her colors.
Wrinkles.
Ah!
Wrinkles her gem. Flattens in and zigzags its makeup.
I don't want to think about that anymore.
Oh my god.
That's far worse than Greg Toshinori or whatever.
Her square afro gets lumpy.
Lumpy. Her head gets lumpy. Her body gets lumpy.
She gets fat lips, even fatter than they already were.
God. Why'd you think of that?
You said clapped her hands, so you said clapped something.
I
was implying he killed her.
Yeah, I was referencing Donkey Kong side smash where he goes like that.
He not only poofs her, he shatters her gems.
Oh, I was thinking of the side B where he knocks his head into...
Where did Klasky Supo come from?
You said clap. I don't know.
Ah!
She tries so hard to avoid, but he super armors through her fucking fist and crinkles her.
You're going too deep. Get back to the story.
It does. I don't like the next sentence they keep using to describe Ralph.
Uh-huh.
If she's a racer, she'll fit right in and not be a glitch anymore. The giant, smelly man shakes his head. It doesn't work like that, pint size. She can't be a racer, or else the game will be unplugged, and she'll be stuck here to die. Then don't unplug the game, the frog croaks. You're right, Fixer Frog. Gregory picks up the frog and holds him up Simba style. You can fix any problem if you put your mind to it. There's always a way to make everything better. Ralph does not look too sure. He sighs again and stares at the sugary dirt.
So it really was made of sugar.
Changing the subject, Wirt points to the medals. What are those you got there? Oh, this one I got from a game called Hero's Duty. Ralph says, holding up the gold one with the blue ribbon. He regards it with a bored expression, but then he holds up the cookie necklace and stares forlornly at it. Vanellope gave me this one. He curls his finger around it. She wanted so badly to race, she wouldn't even listen to me when I tried to warn her about being unplugged. Is there a way she can race without being unplugged in the game? Wirt wonders. Ralph shrugs. Candy said if the gamers saw her glitching, they would think the game is broken, and then they'd unplug the game. Well, there you go. Wirt smiles and holds his hand out as if the answer were clear as day. She can race as long as the people playing the game can't see her glitch. Yeah, Gregory agrees. I can ask Beatrice to make your friend invisible. I still have a wish. Wirt facepalms. Greg! She can't grant wishes. She's not magical. She said she owed us a favor, not a wish. Thanks, kid, Ralph says, offering the faintest of smiles to the little boy. Right now, I wish I could be invisible. He runs a hand through his messy brown hair.
Why?
The man's depressed.
It's really hitting him hard.
Ralph's Great Depression story.
This Great Depression, including the time he met the fucking kid in Wharton Gregory. The 6-year-old laughs. That would look funny when you put the necklaces on. Oh, right. He looks down at the medals in his hands. I was gonna wear the gold medal around my neck when I went home to show I could be a hero. Wirt's a hero, Gregory chirps. He saved us from Adelaide the witch lady and led us to this forest. The high school-age boy chuckles nervously, fiddles with his fingers. Yeah, somehow we got even more lost in the woods. I still don't know how to get home. He looks up at the giant. How are you getting home? Yeah, I want to see you're home too. The frog croaks. I just hop on a train to get back to the game central station. Then I hop on another one to get back to my game. Wirt frowns. I don't think that's going to help us much. Let's just say we have a bad experience with a train.
He already told you how to leave this game.
We did, Gregory says, hugging the frog to his chest. Was this before or after we went into the cemetery? Ralph frowns. Whoa, kid, that doesn't sound like a safe game. Be careful, alright? You die outside your game, you don't regenerate.
That's true for him.
It's true.
If he dies, that's it.
Faint singing comes from somewhere deep in the forest, along with the muffled sound of axe chopping. We should probably go, Wirt says, standing up and smoothing his coat out. We don't want to run into that creepy woodsman again.
Woodsman chopping candy trees.
A 3D model of the woodsman.
Woodsman? Ralph glances around the candy cane woods. There's no woodsman in this game, just racers, cops, and a cookie king. Cookies, Gregory says, moving his frog under one arm and rubbing his belly with his other hand. He points to the cookie medal. Are you gonna eat that? Well, it was nice meeting you, Wreck-It Ralph. Come on, Greg. He takes off down a golden sugar path.
Please, just Ralph.
Please don't. You don't have to say I wreck everything every time.
Just leave.
I don't want to wreck the internet.
Please.
Please, it's not in my contract. Don't make me do it.
It ain't nearly what Sonic made it out to be. Okay. The little boy waves at the big man. Bye, Wrecking Guy. Tell your friend good luck racing. Bye, guys. Ralph waves at them until they are out of sight. Lowering his hand, he ponders over what those two said. He knows Vanellope always wanted to race, but that pillow pants jerk had a point about being trapped in the game. As he makes his way toward the rainbow bridge that will lead him to the tram to the game central station, he wonders if maybe there is a way for his little raven-haired friend to race after all. But how would the others treat her if she did that? How would the others in his own game treat him after he comes home with the medal? He knows he has been gone all day, but no one hardly plays their game anymore. It should be alright, right? I can't believe you want to take that guy's medal, Wirt snaps as the two continue through the forest. He wasn't eating it, so I thought he wasn't hungry, Gregory replies. The older boy sighs. Never mind. We just need to focus on getting home.
You can eat dirt, Greg.
Eat dirt, you bitch.
You glitch.
I know it's not sugar anymore, and I don't care.
You learned a new bad word.
They walk in silence for a few seconds before Gregory asks, Why did you want to take the train? Wirt tenses when he remembers the blinding light rapidly approaching them. I just don't want to, okay? So stop asking so many questions. Okay. Hey, Wirt, he groans, rubbing his eyes. Did you know that if you plant a candy cane in the ground, it becomes a candy tree? The younger child digs into his pants pocket and pulls out a rock with a face painted on it. That's a rock fact. Greg, there is no... Wait.
Oh, that's a classic rock fact bit.
Greg, there's no... Wait. He holds an arm out for them to both stop. He sniffs the fresh air and squints at the brown trees with strange face-like holes in them. How do we get out of the candy forest so fast? Ah, nuts, the little boy says. I think I left my chocolate stick back there. Let's go get it. He turns around. No! Wirt grabs his brother's shoulder and pulls him back. We're not going back there. We have to keep going to find our way home. That makes sense. They continue walking further into the unknown. You always have a good plan, Wirt. Right. Wreck-It Roger? He smiles at the frog hopping along next to him. The frog croaks. Wreck-It Roger. I'm gonna wreck it. I'm sorry, Ralph. We'll follow you, Wirt. Wherever he stops when he feels something dropping onto his hand. Hey, it's raining. Great. Wirt mutters under his breath, pulling the coat tight around him. He turns onto a path going uphill. Gregory huffs a few times before asking, What are we doing? We're walking, Greg. But where? A place to wait out this rain.
Why is the story still going? The crossover ended.
Ralph is gone. There's no point.
A piece of rain fell on his hand. He says, Grape. It's grape rain. We're back in the forest. Grape soda rain.
But Wirt, Gregory has to pause to catch his breath. Shouldn't we wait for Beatrice? Wirt closes his eyes and presses on. He does not need that two-timing bird to help him find their way back.
He wanted to say something else.
That two-timing glitch. A dark shadow lurks among the candy cane trees. He did not know that the unknown extended into the sickly sweet sugar land.
They are back in the candy forest.
Oh, I thought they just left forever.
Same. Someone in this area must either start to be feeling very lost or already have succumbed to the soil of the earth. Yet there are no faces in the candy trees he passes by. Gliding among the trees, he starts humming his song. Come wayward souls who wander through the darkness. There is a light. He recoils when he detects a foul stench.
What?
Did somebody bathe themselves? I didn't sing it. Did somebody bathe themselves in garbage? Up ahead, he sees a man 9 feet tall trudging through the forest.
Again?
The shadow flies up behind the man, but the man, who happens to be the source of the pungent scent, did not even notice.
He's so stinky all the time.
He dares fly around and view the dirty man's face. The giant looks so forlorn and hopeless that he does not even notice the shadow creature right in front of him. What luck, he says to himself as he watches the smelly fellow wander through the forest. He's almost completely lost. He will make a fine addition to my forest. But when he tries to float closer to stop the huge man in his tracks and entangle him in Edelwood branches, he almost gags at the smell and retreats back. It saddens him to see such a trophy walk away like that, but if that man is as forlorn as he seems, then the shadowy beast has nothing to worry about. I'll just have the woodsman take care of the odor before I can add him to my collection. He seems like he would burn nicely in the dark lantern. He continues through the forest.
Ralph?
I guess so.
He's gonna burn Ralph?
Ralph is gonna freaking knock his head off.
Ralph is gonna call him a glitch and fucking flatten him.
He's gonna wreck it and break him in two.
He's gonna knock him into the fucking Klasky Super realm.
He's gonna meekly hold his axe with his arms shaking, and Ralph is just gonna look at him. You wanna try to fight me?
You're gonna hit him with the axe, and the axe is just gonna shatter.
Ralph's gonna lose a life and come back stronger than ever.
Pretty soon, the trees start to lose their bright colors and glossy sheen in place of dull brown and rough bark with eye-like holes in them. He chuckles, low and dark. Well, well, the unknown truly is full of surprises. What are we doing? He hears the child's voice say. The beast perks up. Those two boys, the ones that escaped from him outside the tavern. He swiftly glides over the ground in the direction of the voices. Should we wait for Beatrice? The younger child asks. I don't need Beatrice, the older boy says, through the worried look on his face, though the worried look on his face reveals otherwise. That's it, boy, the beast thinks, curling his fingers around an old tree trunk and spying on the brothers. Become more lost, become more hopeless.
Become more lost, more hopeless.
Says the funny gadget man of the beast.
Trench coat.
The man in the gray trench coat peering behind a tree.
The gadget beast.
Go, go, gadget, into the unknown.
Go, gadget lost.
Go, go, gadget, delete GPS. I'm very scared in this dark sea of forest.
Go, gadget, reverse controls.
Reset to factory standard.
Holy shit.
Format the hard drive.
A tree falls ahead. He turns his glowing eyes in that direction. He nearly growls when he sees the woodsman standing off a bit from the tree. The boys spot the woodsman and try to run away, but that foolish woodsman grabs the older boy's arm, shouting, Stop! Listen! The beast knows your presence, ready to claim you for his dark forest. If that woodsman does not hold his tongue, the beast will use him for oil. Thankfully, the older child does not heed the warning and knocks back the woodsman, fleeing with his brother further into the unknown. Mustering himself up to full height, the beast comes up behind the woodsman. Boys, heed my warning! Beware the beast! Woodsman! Oh, my voice cracked.
Beware the who?
We should talk. The old man glares at the shadow. You leave those boys alone. They have nothing to do with you. On the contrary, those boys have everything to do with the unknown forest. The woodsman huffs, holding the dark lantern tight in his hand as he walks away. If you will not let me have the boys, there is another that... Forget it! The elderly man snaps, pointing his axe at the beast. I have no interest in bringing you any more children. Oh,
This is just the actual plot of the show now.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
It's almost like they're not in the candy forest.
Oh, but this one isn't a child, and you do not even need the lantern or your axe.
Well, there you go.
The beast.
Bringing Ralph back into it.
Why does the beast want Ralph?
He's 9 foot tall and 600 pounds of oil.
You could kill the beast.
You could wreck him.
You can.
All the people in the woods are going to be like, wow, darkness is suddenly gone. What happened? Ralph just happened to pass by and destroy him in one punch.
Beat his ass into the ground over and over.
Listen, you mugged the wrong guy.
Picked him up and threw him into a tree. He bounced off like a rag doll.
The beast nearly grins to himself when the woodsman stops and stares at him. What do you mean? As he explains the simple task of finding the giant and making him smell more tolerable, he leads...
We need to make him smell better, too.
And hose him down. Or else the oil will be tainted.
Bring him around back of the oil shed and get the hose. The hose key's in the closet.
The hose key. He leads the human into the candy forest, but no matter how hard he searches, the big man is gone. All that is there is a ditch in the pink frosting and vines that giggle at his impatience. No, where'd he go? The woodsman smirks. Another one got away from you, huh? Without my help, too. You watch your tongue, woodsman, or do you want me to leave your daughter without any help at all? His smile drops, and he stares sadly at the lantern, his poor daughter, trapped in the dark lantern. With a sigh, he says, I'll keep chopping more trees. He goes over to the nearest candy cane tree and lifts his axe. Stop! Woodsman, what are you doing? I thought she might like something sweet rather than all those edelwood trees I keep grinding into oil. There aren't any more edelwood trees in the unknown. You won't let me make more. I will take care of the matter with the edelwood to help you keep the lantern lit, but no other tree may be used, especially not these coniferous cavities.
You don't want to give your daughter a cavity, do you?
He hurries away from the sugary forest in disgust, the grumbling woodsman trailing behind. The beast just needs to keep the old man occupied until he can turn the two boys and that odorous giant of a man into edelwood trees. The end.
That went on
Way
like
too long.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna end like half of the story in as soon as they bailed from Ralph. But then it just turned into this huge thing, and now Ralph's stinky, and they're gonna turn him into a tree.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, stinky.
They integrated him into the plot.
I give that story an integration to the plot out of 10.
I give it 1.5 medals.
I give it the Skunk Ape Ralph out of 10.
Skunk Ape Ralph.
Look what I found.
Whoa.
I got a cat in the bag. Maybe that one stretched on. I kind of lost focus a bit through it.
I feel.
But now we're going to get right back on track with Elias's story. That will save the episode.
Yeah, I'll do the funny one.
Hell yeah. It better be so funny that your cat raffles, rolling on the floor laughing.
I'm just gonna read the disclaimer because the story has spoiled itself as soon as the first sentence starts anyways.
Okay.
But I love when they say, I do not own something. Like, of course you don't own it. You're not the author writing fan fiction of your own stories.
Well, you never know.
This-
You know, JC Little made a fan fiction account just to comment on my story.
True, I wonder if she's read any stories yet.
God, I hope. I love that woman.
Disclaimer. I don't own Naruto or the Over the Garden Wall. Chapter 1. Cold. Terribly cold. Shivering as he walked down a dirt path carved through an old forest of dead trees, Naruto couldn't help but wish he knew where the hell he was. He knew he'd never seen a forest like this before in the 7 short years he'd been alive.
7?
Is this child Naruto?
Why is it child Naruto? He doesn't have any powers yet.
The dead trees surrounding either side of the path he was on were enveloped in a shroud of darkness, giving off an eerie feeling and acting as a good deterrent, keeping him from straying the path. Looking around, he couldn't see where the path led, as both ahead and behind him the path curved, blocking his vision of anything other than the walls of trees and darkness. Deciding just to keep walking forward, in hopes of finding something to warm up, he wished he had warmer clothing, as the worn white short-sleeved shirt and dirty black shorts he currently had on were doing little to keep his small body warm in the cold night air. As he walked, trying to ignore the nipping of the cold wind, biting away at his exposed arms and legs, he tried to think about how he ended up here. The last thing he remembered was running from the small group of villagers that had been chasing him, shouting things he didn't understand at him, calling him names like demon and murderer.
Shouting things he didn't understand, like Japanese.
When he turned a corner into an opening of a stone wall and found himself in a grassy field filled with white lilies. As he kept running, constantly casting his gaze behind him, he never noticed the mossy stone wall ahead of him until he'd already reached it. His eyes widened when he noticed that the rather tall wall stretched across the field a good ways before wrapping around and boxing him in. The archway he'd entered through acting as both the only entry and exit, making turning back impossible unless he could fight off the mob that had chased him. Frantically looking around for a way to escape, Naruto noted the only things occupying the enclosed field were the white lilies and the occasional sakura tree. Not knowing what else to do, Naruto ran alongside the far edge of the wall before he quickly came upon a single sakura tree growing next to the tall wall. Acting quickly as he could hear the angry voices arriving at the entrance to the field, Naruto ducked behind the tree, hoping it'd prove a well enough hiding place to not be seen by his pursuers.
Naruto ran into the phone booth and pretended to be on the phone.
They followed him on a straight path into a field of trees, and he just hid behind a tree, which worked.
The first tree on the path.
Where'd he go? Isn't this the way he turned? Yeah, I seen him turn into here. He's got to be around here somewhere. There's nowhere to hide. Spread out and find that little bastard.
Damn. Naruto's fucked. If only Wirt and Greg were here to save him with their ninjutsu.
As the various voices of the villagers started fading away, Naruto's fear grew stronger, causing his heart to pound in his chest. Why? Why did they start chasing him all of a sudden? What did he do to deserve their hatred? For as long as he could remember, the worst he'd ever had to deal with had been the constant glares and significantly raised prices of the food and clothing he had to buy. But for some reason, today seemed to be more violent. I guess that's...
Is that a comment on like inflation, or is that a comment on them not liking Naruto?
They come in, he's like, the clothes say they're 100 yeni, and they say, not for you, Naruto, that'll be 200.
It's 200 for you.
The fine print says, unless Naruto.
Unless Naruto comes in, then everyone has to suffer.
Before he could spend any more time pondering the cause to his current predicament, a shout from one of the villagers snapped him out of his musings. There he is! He's hiding behind that tree!
Damn it, Naruto!
Hearing those words shattered any hope Naruto held of waiting it out. Peeking out from behind the tree he had hidden behind, he found that the small group of villagers had fanned out in a semicircle and had surrounded the tree. With them still being a distance away, Naruto had time to gather a look at his pursuers. He counted 6 different adults, each male and rather large compared to his 7-year-old body. What are they going to do to him?
Whatever 6 large males do.
Heart beating a mile a minute, he looked around for a way to escape his current entrapment. He doubted he'd be able to squeeze through the gaps between the villagers, and he definitely couldn't fight them, but before he could panic any more, it hit him. Looking up, he did what came natural to any young boy his age. He began climbing the tree. That's not gonna save you, you little shit! shouted one of the men.
Oh no.
We are going to stomp you into the ground. There's nothing you can do about it.
We are going to spank and kill him.
Yeah, we came prepared, you dumb fuck, said the apparent leader of the ragtag group.
Found that spank and crank for bank.
Stepping forward before reaching into his pocket and removing a small foot-long hollow tube, he then removed what appeared to be a simple needle from a case no larger than a pack of cigarettes and inserted it into the tube. Gonna blowgun him?
Oh no.
I thought he was just gonna prod him with a stick until he fell out of the tree.
My ninja cattle prod jutsu.
As hard as it was to get my hands on this, I was assured that the poison won't be traceable.
My ninja lethal injection.
My ninja lethal blow dart. Fearful of what might happen if he didn't do anything, Naruto did the only thing he could think of at that moment. He jumped! I made it, was the only thought he had time to contemplate before his small body struck Earth and his world was met with eternal darkness. He died.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
He fell 4 feet out of a tree and died.
He ain't a very good ninja.
He's 7. He's not a ninja yet.
I'm assuming he landed on the other side of the brick wall, but they didn't say that.
It's just
It's
just how big a thing running through the trees are. Like him just falling a 4-foot tree and dying.
I forgot about the mossy brick wall. All I could think of was the vicious ass beating that was going to come to him.
For sure.
For a reason we don't quite understand.
It was going to happen.
There is no escape. Do not worry, you will be beaten.
You will be beat. There is no escape.
The next
I
thing...
should pound you for this. Don't worry, I'll pound you when I get home. That's a tired boy. Been working
Kept walking.
hard all day long.
As he continued his journey through the ever-darkening woods, Naruto's mind grew ever more frantic. conjuring up frightening images as he grew more and more fearful of being lost amongst the never-ending trees. He could swear he'd seen faces, twisted in horror in some of the trees hiding within the veiling darkness. As he prepared to run in fright, as any young child would do, he froze dead in his tracks, looking into the woods ahead of him. Naruto was frozen solid with fear by the glowing red, slit eyes staring back at him. His young, fearful mind already weaving an image of an evil, snarling beast ready to rip him limb from limb. That's why he was completely and utterly unprepared for the small orange fox that slunk its way out of the tree line and laid down in the path ahead of him. Taking note of its golden orange fur and single bushy tail, Naruto deemed the critter to most definitely not be a horrendous monster, bent on consuming his flesh. Regardless, Naruto still carefully maneuvered his way around the small fox before beginning to walk along the path once more. A moment passed in silence as he continued walking, before he glanced behind him, only to notice that the small fox had decided to follow him, its small paws making the bare minimum of noise to signify it was even behind him. Ugh. Numbed by the cold, he didn't do anything to prevent the fox from trailing behind him. Oh yeah, I forgot the Naruto's really cold arc.
He is quite cold.
If he was honest with himself, Naruto had to admit that a little bit of company he was appreciated, as it helped him ignore a bit of his fear. Keeping a good pace, the duo traveled together in silence. Before trying to keep his mind off the bitter cold, Naruto began speaking to himself. "This sucks. This really sucks," he spoke quietly. "I don't know where the heck I am. God.
Everything sucks.
Well, at least it's not all bad. At least I made a friend." Here he gave a short, mirthless chuckle. I don't know what that means. Huh. His first friend ever is a fox of all things. Though, I wish I wasn't so hungry. He spoke dejectedly, as if to prove a point. His stomach gave a loud grumble.
And then he looked at his only friend.
Well, I gotta do what I gotta do.
Friendship or food?
Keep accidentally scrolling forward. Even though... I hope we find somewhere soon. Maybe somewhere with a nice lady to call our very own mommy. Heh, yeah, right. Like that'd ever happen. Guess it's just
orphan.
you and me.
Yeah,
Foxy.
Foxy. Foxy from One Piece.
He said, turning to give the fox his own foxy grin, only to see the fox was gone.
My one friend, Foxy from One Piece.
Now gone.
He's off to do a fun filler elsewhere.
Even though Naruto was used to disappointment, it still hurt to see the fox no longer following him. Well, what else was I expecting? That a fox of all things would actually want to be my friend, he thought to himself sadly before continuing walking.
He rubbed his tummy.
Only to be alerted to rustling in the bushes. Fear beginning to grip him once more, Naruto prepared to run from any potential dangers in the dark woods. He was yet again unprepared for the same fox from before to trot out from the bushes with a dead squirrel in its maw. Is he gonna feed the dead squirrel to Naruto?
Oh no.
Yeah, bones and all.
Trotting up to him, the fox set the small dead animal down in front of the confused boy. "What am I supposed to do with this?" Naruto asked.
You ungrateful little shit.
Hits
No
the
wonder
fox.
they're gonna... Jeez.
What am I supposed to do with this? Go give me something I can actually eat. The fox leaves. My one friend gone again.
Why do they always leave?
What, you want me to eat this? Receiving a yip from the small fox. Yip. Naruto released a sigh. Look, it's a nice gesture and all, but I can't eat this. It's not cooked. I'd get sick. He said, mentally shaking his head at the fact he was now talking to the small animal that had decided to follow him.
I can't learn to prep it. You don't understand. That's hard. I don't even know how to make a fireball jutsu.
Why don't you eat it, okay? Naruto could have sworn the fox rolled its eyes before it snatched up the squirrel in its maw once more as he turned and began walking.
Oh no.
The small fox following just behind him. I'll just tough it out until we find some shelter, okay? I'm sure it can't be too far to some kind of civilization. After all, we are on a path created by someone, right?
They've got to have a vending machine with Snickers,
Oreos,
Nutty Buddies. The best Japanese snacks.
This literally just describes them walking in the forest for the next 5 paragraphs, and that's the end of the story. Naruto died of starvation.
They walked and walked and walked.
They walked every 20 steps. Naruto stopped to complain, and the fox rolled its eyes. Said, "I brought you food, Naruto."
I rate that 6 curb stomps out of 10.
I rate that 1 blow dart to child Naruto's butt.
Alright, I had a lethal 4-foot fall out of 10.
Why were they trying to kill him so bad?
They never explained it. He was just the victim.
Is it just because he's the nine-tailed fox?
Well, he's been that way since birth. What did he do now?
Wouldn't like the fox escape him or something if that happened? I don't know how Jinchuriki lore works.
I don't know.
I don't know if the Katsuki kill them when they capture them to extract the Jinchuriki, but maybe they do.
I don't know. Don't like all the other ones come back as corpses or something in the one war? You've read Naruto, I haven't.
I did not finish the Great War. It's so long. It's like a third of Shippuden, and nothing happens for so much of it. And they retcon the story points a bunch of times, and I think I had 20 chapters left, but I literally couldn't do it.
Yeah, I remember I fell out of Naruto as soon as Toonami disappeared off the air, and then I just could not be bothered to watch Shippuden. All of my interest in the franchise was gone.
I watched it religiously until mid Shippuden when I just realized it was all filler and I couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah, I've heard Naruto has a lot of filler in it.
It's just so nothing.
Yeah, from what I can gather, Shippuden feels a lot more serious toned and just more not plot driven, but I don't know. The original one feels more about the adventure in the world and exploring the world. It doesn't feel like you get a lot of that in Shippuden, at least from the little bit I've taken in.
It wouldn't be so bad if the fillers were episodes, but they're entire arcs.
Oh god.
Yeah, I do know there's a whole season of Naruto reminiscing on times he had fake not real missions back when they were kids with other troop members.
There's so many flashback scenes during the Great War, which is already so long.
That's awful.
Ugh.
Anyway, thanks for tuning into our Naruto episode of Crossing the Line.
Thank you guys. We should have a filler episode.
Where we just don't read anything.
Where we remember times where we read other things.
It's just a big cold open.
We just pretend we're gonna have an episode and it never actually comes.
There we go. And make a good April Fool's.
That's a good point.
Yeah, let's get started on the,
Wait a minute, did you guys see
Today's episode is... Oh, hold on, I'm getting a call.
Yeah? Really?
Oh.
Well, YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, Blinks, woo, shill, everybody shill something. Shill.
Sim Salbin Shill.
Please watch our new manga episode if you haven't already, and let me know what you think. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, what's the actual name of the show? Is it still Manga Mondays even though it's coming out on a Wednesday? You're gonna have to think of a title by the time you upload it tomorrow.
No, the one tomorrow is just gonna be... Well, you're right. I want it to be
Yeah, you need a series name.
Yeah, 5 manga you should read this Halloween, and...
Dash.
Name. Yeah, I'll think about it. It'd be Epic Manga Atheist.
The pissed off manga enthusiast.
The amazing
Manga fan 1996.
The amazing atheist.
The amazing atheist.
Parenthesis. Official. Close parenthesis.
Game drops.
God. Oh yeah.
Come on, give me some real name ideas.
Oh. next week, next episode, I wanna do more. I wanna read Harry Potter again.
Yay.
I was thinking about all the stuff and like my weird obsession for Saturday morning cartoons, but I decided no, I want to actually read something that'll be worthwhile. So I want to read more Harry Potter ones since there's a shit ton of them.
There's literally infinite Harry Potter ones. Everything we've ever read is a Harry Potter crossover.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be fun. It'll be an easy one, especially after this Over the Garden Wall episode, where out of all of our like 100 or so choices, 90 of them are Gravity Falls crossovers.
Right.
So they were pretty slim pickings.
None of us wanted to pick those because they're all boring.
They would all be the same thing. Anyway.
Not one of them was based on Seuss.
I didn't even look because I still haven't watched much of the show.
I like the idea of a Pawn Stars jam. Should do that.
We'll do a Pawn Stars jam. We'll get everybody in the crew. I'll get the detectives. I'll get the police. I'll get everyone in my power to write Pawn Stars fan fiction. Rick's arms are not black. They're beautiful and white, just like mine.
Rick is not
tattooed.
dead. The old man
What
is not
if
dead.
Chris Chan had a Pawn Stars OC?
A Pawn Stars OC? Would he be like a worker at the store? Or would he be
Yeah.
like a customer?
No, of course he'd be an employee. They're the only ones that have character.
I think he'd probably be owner. You know that man couldn't handle being subservient.
He'd be a second old man.
Well, God rest his soul. The old man is gone, so you need a fourth man.
Old woman.
The old man, Chris Chan. Is their name in the little bubble?
Christian goes to Gold and Silver Pawn to try to sell his drawing.
It's now Sonic and Silver Pawn.
I have a certificate to say that I do indeed legally own the rights.
To the old man.
I'm gonna have to call in an expert. He calls Miyamoto.
He calls Liquid Chris.
Hello, Ian.
You. And then it cuts back to like the reality show thing where he's like, ugh, Liquid again. He is not the real me. And then it cuts to Liquid Chris in the parking lot and he's like, yeah, I'm just fucking with him. It's been
As far
going
as he
on.
knows, I'm the real Chris.
I'm the real Chris and that's all that matters. I'm Chris but better.
I'm Liquid Chris, and you never know what is gonna come through that door.
He just takes over. He's a liquid old man.
Hey, you're taking my bit.
Sonic and Silver Pawn Shop is now mine.
Shadow and Silver Pawn. Blaze and Silver Pawn.
There we go.
Okay, look forward to the Pawn Stars episode coming sometime.
The Pawn Stars. Prawn Stars.
Look up, next time Harry Potter, sometime in the future, Pawn Stars fanfic jam. Get ready to write some cool stories. We're gonna have a blast. I don't really know how we're gonna do it, but it'll be a fun idea and it'll be something different than just anonymously picking out our fanfics as we usually do. Okay, any last words? Anybody? Don't just quote a YouTube poop.
Give me names for the manga series in the comments, even though I already have decided one by then. Please follow me on Twitch, and follow us on Twitter and YouTube, and subscribe, and like, and share, and comment, and tell us your favorite Pawn Stars moment.
Wrong Wednesdays.
Why?
I don't know.
Freaky Fridays?
Freaky Fridays. Oh, I thought it had to be a Wednesday.
It doesn't have to be a specific day, but it could be.
We'll get back. You'll find out before this episode even came out. So
Terrible Tuesdays.
I want the title of it to be terrible.
8 crazy nights.
It's 8 uploads in a row at night, nothing else.
Thankful Thursdays.
What if we did an 8 crazy nights special where we did 8 uploads of 8 different stories?
8 crazy nights.
Hanukkah?
Yeah, our Hanukkah special.
Hell yeah! Our 8 crazy nights jam.
No.
We have to write one fan fiction every day for
One
8
Adam
days.
Sandler fan fiction every day.
I stand by that.
Get
Let's
all of our
go.
previous guests to write a Adam Sandler fan fiction.
It has to be
Can you
us.
get the Sir Palo to write say Crazy Nights with broken English and all?
I need you to write this in Spanish so I can put it through Google Translate real quick.
Hey, buddy. Okay, for real. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.